Hello everybody, Pups Animations here, and today I have returned with a JW3 speed build. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. Pupsy, where have you been? And I think it's best answered with the question, have any of you guys been to Arkansas? I haven't, so I don't really know what it's like, but you know what I do know? A little engine known as Unreal Engine and Blockbench, putting them together, rubbing them together like coins, and creating something somewhat beautiful. And isn't that the point of life? Beauty? I mean, where would we as humans be without beauty? Now you might be asking, Pupsy, what are you building here? Well, it's simple. Have you guys ever been on a nature trail while you're like hiking? I mean, I have. I've been on a nature trail when I was young. It was in the mountains. So my thought was like, what if there was a nature trail, but with dinosaurs? So that's what I'm building. I spent a lot of time on this plaza because, they say a park is only as good as its plaza. I don't know who says that, but I imagine they're very smart because that is correct. Now, obviously, it's not real. I didn't build the buildings, which I wish. No, not really wish I would. I mean, they are pretty time consuming. But you know what I wish? I wish there still was a way to make amenities like they did in JW2. I mean, it was pretty easy to make a bunch of different buildings in the same style that look different. Now, obviously, I love modular building. I use it a lot, but would there be any way to bring back like classic, amenity building style and have optional modular versions of them? Is that a thing? Can we do that? Frontier, please? It was so easy back in the day. Back in the JW2 days to make a bunch of amenities that look different in the same building style. Now it's all a hassle. And it makes me not want to place down amenities, but I do like having amenities. It makes building plazas fun. I'll probably edit those amenities, off camera, make them look more, in style. And also something weird, why isn't there a Jurassic Park amenity? Like large amenity. I checked, and the closest one I could find in style was the Malta one, but why isn't there no Jurassic Park one? I feel like there's like just one in a bunch of buildings that are missing some like extra styles. And also, where's the Biosyn style? Why'd we just execute the Biosyn style in a back alley? I like the Biosyn building style. And also, like, the DFW building style. I haven't seen, the hatchery is gone. It's really sad. I like that DFW hatchery. And the Biosyn hatchery, And also, where's the old Biosyn map, Frontier? But maybe I'm complaining too much. Good news for you guys. I'm going to continue building on this map, which means you're getting more videos like this. But, in case you guys want a little change of pace, are you guys aware of the video game franchise known as Five Nights at Freddy's? Well, I'm a bit of a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, and I'm currently on a little FNAF bender, and I have 2 videos coming out soon. One of them is a collaboration, and the other one is Insane Ramblings, which are most of my videos, but it's going to be even more insane. It's like, like a fake, like, playing a character. I like to do that. I like to, pretend to be a character. I did that with my Garjo chicken face videos, which, nobody watched, unfortunately. I would have loved to make more Garjo chicken face videos. I had, like, some really funny ideas for that. But never took off. Rest in peace, Garjo chicken face. He got killed by, Din. And, I really liked making that, fake, JW3 early review. I probably should have taken more time to write the script and, add more jokes, but I really do think it was pretty funny. I am naturally funny, I'm a pretty funny guy. That's why I usually found in the ground. You guys get it? Fun guy. Fun guy. Anyways, how are you guys doing? How about you, Nathaniel? I don't know if there's anyone in the audience named Nathaniel, but if there is, how are you? If you're doing good, leave a comment down below being like, my name is Nathaniel and I'm feeling pretty good. That would be pretty funny if there's someone named Nathaniel watching my videos. Like, Nathaniel? Have a good, good days and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, Nathaniel. You ever think about some names and you wonder, how did these names come about in the first place? I mean, I'm not saying that my name's any good. Like, my name is just random. I don't really understand why I have it. But, like Zachary. Not that many words start with a Z. How do we get Zach? I imagine there's some sort of, like, significance behind it. But honestly, I wouldn't really know. I know a Zachary. Pretty chill guy. Still don't know why his name's Zachary, though. Like other names. Oswald. Zabumathu. Ziglu. I mean, all those names have something in common. The Z. The Z is just such a weird letter. It only makes sense when you put it in front of, like, two things. Xylophone and zebra. Bro, I love zebras. They should add zebras to JW3. And that'd be, like, pretty crazy. You could have, like, enclosure with some Sinoceratops and some zebrae. That's the plural of zebra, right? Zebrae. Zebrae. I'm just talking at this point, am I? I really have nothing to say. But you know what? Let's get back to the Unreal Engine stuff. I am, as Unreal Engine, you would think I am making a video game. Not going to reveal much of it, but it is a fan game of a franchise that I used to do a lot of animations about. Which I guess you could, put the clues together easily. I know you guys are like little internet detectives. You can do like 5 seconds. Speaking of my older stuff, my old animations, I might make some more animations in the future using Blender. I'm testing out this pretty cool mimic model from the game Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic. Great game, by the way. I haven't played a game quite like it. It's a great game. The social economic state of the world, pretty cool, Not really that cool, but I say a lot. Maybe that's like my catchphrase. I should put that in my bio. Maybe I should rename my channel to Pupsy. You know what I mean? I guess what I'm trying to say is, because I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like I'm Mr. Hippo here, going like, you, my friend, have met a terrible, terrible demise. But do I feel bad about it? No. But I do feel bad because I left you guys here. And now we're coming back to the conversation. It's like an awkward conversation with someone you haven't talked to in a long time. Because I guess, like, I'm talking to you guys specifically. But yeah, I want to make sure I make more videos, this channel. It's very important. Speaking of other things, as I have no scope for what I can and can't do, and tend to overwhelm myself with 70 projects at the same time, I'm learning how to draw better, especially digitally, so I can make, better art, for my thumbnails. Because, I do like the silly doodly guys, They're very fun to draw, especially like my little avatar, little Pupsy guy. I love him. But, you know, I want to get better because, it's like a ceiling. And the ceiling is made out of microfiber cloths. You can easily, go through it. But you're going to need like a knife so you can, cut through the microfiber cloth. Because despite the fact that they're microfiber cloths, they're not that easy to cut through. With your hands. Because they're all welded together with glue. You guys know where I'm going with this, right? This feels just like that one, like Dunkleosteus enclosure building from JW 2. I'm literally out of my mind right now. I don't know why. I really just, I need to insanely ramble to you guys so that I get my ideas out before I go to, more coherent stuff. Well, tomorrow I'm going to start recording the big video that's Five Nights at Freddy's related. I think you guys are going to really like that. The scope is pretty big, but, it's also, I'll have, a friend with me there. They have a YouTube too. Not going to say who as of this moment, but they also haven't posted in a long time. And they have nothing to do with Jurassic World Evolution 3, so I don't know if you guys would know them. But I know them. We're pretty good friends, all things considered. And my other video presenting to Five Nights at Freddy's, as I said, it's, me playing a character. And it'll be about a big problem I have with the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise, in general. This. Speaking of Five Nights at Freddy's, that second movie, it was dog water. It was the single. It was awful. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. You can thank War of the Worlds for, not making that one the worst. But it was awful. Genuine slop. They say, oh, it's for the fans. But I'm a fan. This is not for me, is it? But, I guess I should talk about, the big JW 3 thing that happened. The Wetlands DLC. I like, what it had. Ostroraptor, Hypsilophodon, and, Irritator. Despite the fact that, Hypsilophodon is, the oddball pick, the one that everyone was like, why is it here? I think it's probably the most versatile species. And then you have, like, Irritator, pretty versatile, you can put it everywhere, but I don't know. I like the feathered species, but, there's a time and a place for the feathered species. Which isn't like a diss against them, like, it just has to be the right build for the right environment for a feathered species. I can put as many scaled species and as many enclosures in whatever biome, and I feel good about it. But me putting an Ostroraptor in a desert, I just don't really. I wouldn't feel it. I mainly like to keep my feathered creatures to temperate and like alpine biomes. I like them being, when it's like a thing in my head where feathers equal stays warm when it gets cold. For things for JW 3, I would really like it if they made a Permian pack. I think we need more Permian representation. With like Inostransavia and Scutosaurus, because if you're gonna have Inostransavia, you're gonna need Scutosaurus. Because we really do need like extra reptile representation. I'd love Deinosuchus. Everybody wants Deinosuchus. It's the big croc, and I hope we get it decently soon. I just realized I sound really dead in a lot of my videos. I'm gonna try to speak with more pizzazz. I really just need to work on my pizzazz speaking. Because, I like to speak with, more of like a voice, getting my emotion out there. But, I don't want to come off as like cringe to myself. But, because, wouldn't really care what anyone else thinks. But, what I think, oh, that burrows itself deep into my brain. Well, other things. We should probably talk about other things. Because, we have like a minute left in the speed build before we don't have a live tour, because this video is not live tour ready. It's live tourless. Because I want to wait till the entire park is done so I can go back, place a bunch of details before I do a full tour of the entire park, the entire nature trail. But I think I should, reel this back to what I said at the beginning of the question. I mean the video. Why have I been gone? And have you guys been to Arkansas? Because I haven't. And I really want to know what it's like in Arkansas. But, I promise I will post more videos this year. I will make it at least a priority to get out, you know, at least 2 videos per month at least. And I want to go like bigger videos, maybe at least one speed build or maybe two, at least 1 or 2 speed builds, and then an extra, more thought through, commentary video where it's like scripted. Because I want my channel to be more like a reflection of myself rather than just kind of just Jurassic World Evolution 3 content. I don't want to box myself in. I want to branch out. I want to do other games. I want to do other stuff. I want to bring back those uh you know what's it called, Path of Titans live streams. I had a lot of fun doing those, and I plan to do Path of Titan live stream, when I get a new break, because I like to do those early in the morning, like decently early. So I'm probably gonna get back into the live streams around spring for a little. I might make some some more videos on Path. Well, we're running out of time right now, so bye guys, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.